Hello, hello. Wherever you're at in the world, thank you for watching. I'm recording this video talking about Mercury aspects to Pluto in the natal chart. So, jumping right into it. Mercury aspects to Pluto. I, for one, have Mercury trine Pluto in my chart. If you have Mercury in Scorpio, a lot of this video can be very beneficial to you as well. And you might even resonate with some of the keywords and phrases I use to describe this aspect. So getting right into it. If you have any mercurial aspect to Pluto in your chart, this is going to make you a sapiosexual, somebody who is turned on by the intellect and intelligence of others. This is going to give you extremely high mental energy and mental powers. This person has no problem talking about the dark or hidden aspects of this realm or of, Earth, this life. And what does that mean, the dark and hidden aspects? Pluto represents death, destruction, regeneration. Pluto represents purging. It's a release. It is irreversible change. Pluto represents the subconscious, the underworld, sex, death, rebirth, transformation. It is alchemy in its purest form. Pluto represents ghosts, spirits, dark entities, and extrasensory perception. So when we talk about the dark and hidden aspects of this realm, we're simply talking about things that we do behind closed doors, things that other people don't necessarily see. So somebody who has a Mercury aspect to Pluto in their chart, or maybe Mercury in Scorpio, they have no problem talking about what goes on in the bedroom. They have no problem talking about, what they do in the bathroom. If they just took a nasty ass shit, they might be that friend that might call you up and tell you about it, or text you and tell you about it. That's somebody who has Mercury aspects to Pluto. Getting into the energy of Mercury. Mercury rules communication. It also rules telecommunication, so like cell phones, technology, writing, the internet, things like that. It rules intellect, speech, your interaction with your environment, your neighbors, your community. It's early childhood. So Mercury represents the 3rd house, the 6th house, Gemini, and Virgo. So this is early childhood. This is our routines. This is how we analyze things and pay attention to the details of things. And so if you have Mercury aspecting Pluto in your chart, just a quick side note, when I'm talking about the positive and the negative aspects, positive would be the conjunctions, trines, sextiles, whereas negative would be the inconjunctions, the squares, and the opposition. However, in my mind and the way that I put my notes together, to me, the positive and negative is simply harmonious or disharmonious. So if you have a positive aspect like a trine or a sextile, it's easier for you to work with the energies of Mercury and Pluto and therefore display more harmonious qualities when it comes to these two planets. If you have a negative aspect like a square or an opposition, and this can go for any aspect you have in your natal chart, but a negative aspect would make you more inclined to display the disharmonious aspects of the two planets, maybe because of karma or whatever past life things, or just energies you may have to work through in this life. And the squares and the oppositions can end up being just as beneficial as a trine or a sextile, depending on how you work with the energy and if you're able to make it harmonious in your life. So getting right into it. This person with Mercury aspecting Pluto in their natal chart is extremely magnetic. They draw people in with their words and their voice. They have a very clear channel. So when they're receiving downloads or messages from their higher selves, the way that they transmit this can be very clear, easy for the other person to understand, and it's strong. It makes me think of like the story of Anansi, the spider, and I remember learning in school that these stories were passed down through generations and generations. And what held the stories together was the current, the energy that was transmitted as mom told daughter and daughter told little sister, or, you know, however, and then it was passed through these generations and these tribes. The current of energy flowing through you as you speak is what holds the vibrations of the words together and transmits the story, the feeling, the energy behind it, in order for, you know, stories like that to be passed down for years and years and years and years. So this person is extremely magnetic. They draw people in with their words and their voice. They are telepathic. These people are clairaudient. So they probably, more than likely, are often picking up on information from other realms. Remember, Pluto rules ghosts, spirits, dark entities. Whereas like Neptune, or maybe Uranus would be like the higher dimensions if we're talking about the outer planets and we're talking about different dimensions. Somebody who has mercurial aspects to Pluto is probably going to be more of a medium. So you're a person who speaks to the dead or receives messages from the dead. Whereas somebody who has Mercury aspect to Neptune or Uranus, and like for me, I have aspects to all three in my chart, but for a different planet, because Pluto is such a darker planet, you'll be more likely to pick up on darker entities. That doesn't really mean negative. That just means entities that are in the underworld or things that are unseen, things that people typically shy away from. Whereas somebody else may pick up more from angelic realms or like fairies and different beings in those realms that don't necessarily deal with the underworld, right? If you have positive aspects between Mercury and Pluto in your chart, this is going to make you somebody who's very investigative. You are incredibly psychic, very persuasive. You are a natural researcher. You are interested in the occult, psychology, mysteries, crime, like shows like Forensic Files. Man, when I was a kid, I used to watch TLC. I don't even know if that's still a network on TV anymore. I don't watch cable. But I used to watch TLC, and they would have hour-long shows of like the mass murderers and like the Columbine shoot, all things like that. And they just play it all mostly throughout the beginning of the day, and then at night they do things that's geared more towards celebrity. And I used to watch that all the time as a kid, and I didn't understand why I was so drawn to it, especially now, because like I'm not interested or watching any of those things at all. But somebody who has Mercury aspects to Pluto in their chart is going to be somebody who's very interested in the darker aspects of life, and you make it your mission or your goal to start to probe these aspects and to dive deeper. You thrive off of deep intellectual conversation. Surface level communication doesn't do it for you. You can't just be one of those people who walk around talking about the weather. It's more beneficial to you, your mind, body, and your spirit if you're able to go to the depths with somebody, talk about trauma, talk about, you know, what they just went through, or life-changing things, near-death experiences. All these things excite you. This is what you're interested in. This person can be very secretive and private. They like to keep their thoughts and their feelings to themselves. However, this makes people feel extremely comfortable sharing their darker thoughts with you. This makes people feel extremely comfortable coming to you for advice and coming to you for guidance. So it's very important that you start to, I guess, develop yourself in a way where people feel open and comfortable talking to you. And when people just approach you and randomly dump all their shit or just talk about all these dark things going on in your life, that you don't feel taken aback by that. And you realize this is how your energy works. And it's very important, because what you say can help others heal and transform. So this is why people feel more comfortable coming to you and telling you about the darker aspects of their life, or coming to you for advice and guidance, because if you're born with this aspect, your voice is just naturally powerful. And like I said, what you say, what you think can help others heal and transform. Again, what you say is powerful. That's Pluto energy. Pluto is all about power. you can cast spells through what you say. So it's important that you watch what you say, because this can be a person who, when they're mad, they just let anything fly out their mouth, and what you say can really cast spells and start to manifest. So you want to start to use that for lighter things or more positive things in your life to be a benefit to yourself and others. Word magic is very important for you. Spell magic, like actually writing what you want to see in your life happen, what you want to see happen to you and others and things like that, is very powerful to you. You're a captivating speaker. Sarcasm, dry humor, and satire are weapons that are always available for you. You have a very sharp tongue, so again, watch what you say. Your words cut like swords. It's very important that you use this power for good and not for evil. You know how to speak directly to a person's subconscious without even trying. So this person doesn't even have to be in the alpha state, or their subconscious mind doesn't even have to be at the forefront. You know how to read people's energy. You know how to read the subtleties in what a person says and what they do with their body language. It's easy for you to probe the mind and really start to understand how a person thinks, why they do the things that they do. And again, use these powers for good and not evil. You know how to speak directly to a person's subconscious mind. So you want to make sure that you watch what you say, because what you say can linger with others. And you want to implement and start to plant good seeds in their mind, you know, so that even if it's not something they pick up on directly in conversation with you, maybe when they go home or when they go to sleep, they may have a dream, because their subconscious is more active at these states, you know, when they're calm, more relaxed. And through that dream or through that meditative state, something you said might come back around and help to heal and transform this person. So getting into the negative aspects, somebody who has or who is displaying the more disharmonious qualities of mercurial aspects to Pluto would be somebody who has really dark thoughts, like really, really dark thoughts. And I have a few friends with Mercury and Scorpio, and they naturally just have dark thoughts or are thinking dark things. Some of them have more control of it than others. It is important that you learn how to control your thoughts. You can have a lot of homicidal or suicidal thoughts. You can have a lot of perverted thoughts or just sexual thoughts, or maybe it's easy for you to really pick up on the sexual energy of others. And if you're not careful, fear may plague you. You may be scared whenever you leave the house or when you're having conversation with certain people, because you're able to pick up on those darker subconscious aspects of a person that go beyond this timeline. So you could be talking to somebody and start to tap into some past life where they were some type of murderer or rapist or something like that, and you can see that in them on this timeline, but you have to start to draw yourself back to present reality and realize where you're at in the here and now, because if not, that can kind of confuse you. It can make you feel crazy. It's important that somebody with this aspect really starts to dive into their psychic gifts and abilities, because you have to have control over your mind in order to live sanely with this aspect. This person with a disharmonious, like if you're displaying the more disharmonious energies of Mercury and Pluto, you can be very controlling in conversation. You may want to even control other people's thoughts in their speech. This could be like that really controlling boyfriend or girlfriend. You can be very manipulative, and you can be very obsessive. Like if somebody says something to you, you may obsess over it and think about it all day and night. Or if somebody speaks to you a certain way, or if you get a certain idea, you may obsess over it and think about it all day and night. And you know, obsession, sometimes it's good because you can focus your energy through obsession and start to manifest through that. But if you're not in control, it can leave you stuck, it can leave you paralyzed, and it can leave you like creating a whole bunch of shit that's not real, or creating all these darker manifestations of these obsessive thoughts and ideas. A person who has these disharmonious qualities or negative aspects may struggle with asserting their power and their confidence through their speech. So you may need to work on your throat chakra. You may feel like what you say doesn't have value, or you feel like you can't command a room whenever you're trying to speak up for yourself. So that's something you really want to work on. It's hard for you to work with others. Again, Pluto rules power, so you may not want to relinquish power to others through speech, through communication, because we're dealing with Mercury here. So you always want to take the lead. You always want to be the one who tells other people what to do, and you need to learn how to balance that out. You fight to prove yourself intellectually because of fear, and it's very important that you start to connect with people emotionally. Mercury is going to be that more masculine planet, whereas Pluto is very feminine in nature. So it's important that if you have a square or an opposition here, that you want to balance the energy of these two planets and use it for your good. You are extremely powerful, extremely creative, and Mercury aspecting Pluto will show you time and time again, your mind creates your reality. You're in charge of what you experience here. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I did a lot of rambling, babbling, talking, but it was great. I love this. I sat with this for 2-3 days before sharing it with you guys. And I did Mercury and Uranus, Mercury and Neptune, and now Mercury and Pluto. So feel free to check them out. Like, share, subscribe. Peace.